Hello everyone, Jimithestache here, and I am here once again
with the one, the only, the Country Flyboy. And sadly, we were unable to repair the Boatman bot after the last episode, so unfortunately he will not be joining us for this one. He's sitting in a corner with his back open. We couldn't... I may have fried the electrical system.
Unfortunately, we did not have the technology, and unfortunately, rubber bands and paper clips are just not enough.
Yeah, and I'm out of screws. But
I have a 20-sided die, but I don't think that will fix anything.
If you roll a 10 or higher, he will magically come back to life. 14!
It didn't work.
Nope.
Oh well, we
Anyway.
tried.
Today we're going to be doing the publishers. That's Ubisoft, EA, Square, Bethesda, all of them. Not in that particular order. No particular order, really. Just whichever order we felt like putting them in.
Right, and this is going to be, we decided that we just wanted to put all these together and do it abridged. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the things that we're interested in, the things that we're kind of excited about, rather than every little thing from the conference.
Yes. Particularly, we've cut the things that did not have much to go on.
Yep.
So, we're going to start with Ubisoft, who, we got more than we were expecting from Ubisoft this year, but we really weren't expecting too much from them.
That's true.
The first game they rolled out, and I love how they started their conference. Just it looked like water. Like it could have been any game, and you hear this person talking. It's the stick, yada yada, and then all of a sudden the camera pans away from the water. Turns out you were looking inside of a toilet bowl. And then Cartman shows up, grabs a stick out of the toilet bowl, an actual stick, a wooden stick, and says, "Okay, who put the stick of toilet, or who put the stick of truth in the toilet? That is not cool. This is the holy relic." Yes, it's a new South Park game. The sequel to what was the
Stick of Truth.
The Stick of Truth, yeah. The sequel to the Stick of Truth. Can you tell I haven't played that game? Even though I'm a massive South Park fan.
I'm not a South Park fan at all. I've seen a little bit of gameplay footage just because I like games. And I will give it this. I will give both of them this, that I do respect them for. Like I said, I'm not really a fan of South Park, but I do respect that the game actually looks and feels just like an episode of that show, which I think is really cool. I like that idea.
It is a game for South Park fans, and looks like the name of the South Park game is The Fractured Butthole. That is in something that is fractured but still in one piece, not a damaged rectum. Even though that's obviously the thing they were going for with the title.
Obviously, with those guys, of course.
So standard South Park humor. It looks like an episode of South Park. Just you get to interact with the characters.
Right, yeah.
Respect Cartman's authority. Anyway,
right. So
moving on.
Next, we're going to talk about For Honor. I just recently watched the trailer for this. Doesn't really grab me too much. I'm not super interested, but it did look interesting.
As someone who is a weapons aficionado, and by that I mean anything that is considered a weapon is something I'm interested in, especially swords. And sort of the tricky bit of sword fighting that no one ever gets right. The fighting... First of all, this is a fantasy game, because even though it is taking place sort of with real factions, the factions are samurai, knights, and Vikings. And these three factions never met in history. They existed at completely separate times, so it is fantasy.
Yeah.
But I can live with that. I do not care as far as that. Because it is interesting to see one style of fighting go up against another.
Mm-hmm.
As far as the fighting, it's realistic in the sense that you can do those moves physically. You can fight like that. It is not realistic in the sense that if you tried to fight like that, you would get killed very quickly. Anyway, there wasn't much on it other than it's going to be a big sword fighting. It looked like a massive scale sword fighting game.
Yeah, kind of like if it's the one that I remember looking at, kind of like Dynasty Warriors or something like that, where there's a lot of enemies on screen and you have to like fight them.
Yes,
basically, kind of like that. But
it is an Ubisoft game, which terrifies me.
Yeah, that's true. The next one on the list, this one actually piqued my interest a little bit, but I don't know. I'm kind of done with the whole apocalyptic thing, and we're talking about, of course, The Division, which is a Tom Clancy title, done by Ubisoft. And
I just want to pause real quick, put you right. Ubisoft was the Tom Clancy conference this year.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah, really.
This is just the first of many.
Oh yeah.
Go ahead.
But yeah, it looked interesting. It really reminded me of like The Last of Us. That's kind of, or not The Last of Us, excuse me, not The Last of Us. I Am Legend is what I was thinking. different apocalyptic game, or different apocalyptic movie.
You got Last of Us from this?
No, not The Last of Us. Not The Last of Us. No, I got I Am Legend off of that. It's kind of what it reminded me of, just like a city that's been kind of abandoned. Like there's not a lot of people there, and everything's gone to chaos. Which actually could probably sum up just about any post-apocalyptic movie ever.
I would like to point out that they said it is a virus that went around and killed a bunch of people.
The common cold.
That would just be perfect. I see one zombie and I'm done. I better not see a single zombie, because there was a 2D perspective strategy game that came out on Steam recently. It's called This War of Mine. And it was post-apocalyptic, but it was a good type of post-apocalyptic. It wasn't something unnatural.
Yeah.
It was a human thing that called... Basically, there's this war fighting going on. Two factions just hate each other. The big military power that the rebels are fighting against has cordoned off the city. They've blockaded it, and no one can get supplies in. And you play as a civilian, and you got two friends with you, and you just have to survive. You just have to survive in this war-torn, looks like Berlin after World War II. It's just decimated. It was really good because it's something that's believable. That can actually happen.
Right.
And does actually happen.
So that's the thing.
That's the scary part.
That's the thing. I mean, like, even going to games like The Last of Us, I think where The Last of Us stood out to me was that it wasn't like every other apocalyptic game. It wasn't, a gray color palette mixed with a lot of dilapidated things. There were parts of that game that were absolutely gorgeous, just green, like the nature reclaiming the area, and just absolutely amazing and beautiful. Whereas there were also some parts that were darker and things like that, but there was a nice balance, and it didn't feel stale. It felt creative and beautiful.
That part where spoiler alert, that part where Ellie kills that dude with the cleaver, holy cow.
So completely doing a 360 here or a 180 or whatever.
We're going into a happy game now.
We're going into Just Dance 2016, which is just like every other Just Dance game except for one thing.
He's pointing at me right now because he knows what I want to talk about.
The one thing that, like, fans of the Japanese pop culture have been rejoicing about.
Not all of us. One of us is a bit disappointed. Okay. I'm just going to come out and say it. I'm a nerd.
Yes.
Hatsune Miku is one of my favorite things in the world. And she is going to be appearing in Just Dance 2016, one of her songs. And Just Dance, they have the person on the screen doing the dance moves, you gotta follow along.
Yes.
It's not Hatsune Miku, though. It's a person in a Hatsune Miku costume. Clearly. And I'm looking at this and I'm like, this is a game. You couldn't get the actual Hatsune Miku to show up for this? I mean, she's available. I'm sure she would love to help you. Just give her a call. She's there all day. Also, the song that they picked for this, I'm going to show my Hatsune Miku fandom now. The song that they picked for this was Lavana Polka, which is one of her newer songs. Not the biggest hits. Okay, not a big fan of this particular one. They couldn't pick one of her better songs. Sharing the World, Electric Angel, Rolling Girl, my personal favorite one. You couldn't pick one of those. Just why? Why? Hatsune Miku, please put the real Miku in the game. Just.
For those of you that don't know who Hatsune Miku is, Google it.
Google, yes. You gotta Google, because we can't tell you here, otherwise... I need to show you how much of a nerd I am. Go Google it. Next on the list, Rainbow Six Siege.
Jeez, I don't even get an opinion on this one, apparently.
No.
Jeez. This is one-sided.
I went on my Miku rant, and that's it for that game. It's a Just Dance game. It's gonna have Hatsune Miku. That's not Hatsune Miku. That angers me.
Well, I feel like I needed to redeem myself at least a little bit.
Oh, go ahead if you want. Just don't mention Miku. I've covered Miku.
Well, I was gonna say though, like I was gonna give my piece on the situation, and that it's not like it's interesting because I am new to this whole thing.
He's not a big Hatsune Miku fan, guys.
I'm not against Hatsune Miku actually at all. It's actually something that I've only just started to learn about. So it's not that I'm against it. It's just kind of funny to watch him passionately jump up and down about it. I'm the same way about other things, and in fact, like
Mr. got a pony as your desktop background.
That's very true. That's very true. And I've recently just gotten into watching anime and things like that. So, it's something that. He's giving me I'm ranting too long after he gave his long rant.
No. I'm just singing. That's an intro to Attack on Titan.
Oh, okay.
I was humming that.
I thought you were like, okay, move along. We got other things to do. No, but that's one of those things where it's like, I think that's cool. I get what Country Flyboy is saying. But yeah. So, on that note, though, I guess I really didn't add anything. So, yay! Time waster! Let's go on to Rainbow Six Siege.
Rainbow Six Siege. I've hidden my thing. There it is. Rainbow Six Siege. So, Rainbow Six is a third-person shooter. It's a Tom Clancy game, again. But unlike most shooters, you don't play as a soldier in Rainbow Six. You play as counter-terrorist unit. Looks like a well-equipped government agency, law enforcement, SWAT team kind of thing. Counter-terrorist unit.
Yeah.
So, the way a typical game goes is you got one team of players. They're the terrorists, the hostage takers. They have a hostage. In the trailer, it was some blonde chick. They have to keep that hostage alive to get what they want.
Mm-hmm.
And the Rainbow Six team has to save the hostage. So they got a variety of equipment they can use, like little hidden cameras. You play as a SWAT team, basically. And they got to formulate a strategy, move in, secure the hostage, move out.
Yep.
My biggest fear with this is since it's coming to PS4, Xbox One, and PC this year, actually. Before the year's over, they're going to release it.
Nice.
And it looked good enough, but on PS4 and Xbox, these games always go the same way. They always turn into, oh my god, 360 no-scope headshot.
YOLO swag, XX, Master Killer, XX wants to shoot you in the face.
Yeah, and it's run and gun. Everyone just runs and guns on consoles because there's no real benefit. The only shooter I ever played on console that there was no benefit to running and gunning, but even on this shooter, it still worked every now and then, was Battlefield Bad Company 2's multiplayer, if you played it on hardcore mode. Mm-hmm. That one, running and gunning was not the best idea in the world sometimes.
Yeah, it was very funny because I watched the trailer for this and it was so scripted. I mean, it's one of those things where I guess I could see if you had like a bunch of your good friends playing with you that it might go down kind of like that. But it was just very like calm, like, okay, guys,
that won't
come
happen.
in. All right, there's two over there. You're gonna get those.
Outside of people who play Arma on PC, no. Even people who play Battlefield on PC don't take their time like that.
Yeah.
It's like, you gotta...
move! Get on the ground! Do this!
Yeah, that's...
Look at my audio clip.
It's okay. You can work some editing in post. Magic. Yeah, it just doesn't work that way with games.
Yeah.
Outside of Arma, where the game's so clunky and you die so like one or two bullets takes you down in Arma.
Yeah.
So you're forced to sort of be the more careful, realistic style.
Right.
Anyway, it's a Rainbow Six game.
Yep.
It's going to turn into multiplayer run and gun for about 6 months. Then the next Call of Duty comes out.
Probably, yep.
And then it turns into a ghost town.
Yep.
Moving on, a fun little game.
Yeah.
Trackmania is coming back. Trackmania Turbo, which is a racing game.
Yep, basically Hot Wheels.
Yeah, Hot Wheels Matchbox the game. So it's not realistic racing like Forza or Need for Speed. It's two little cars.
Cars on tracks, and
it's fun.
Yeah, doing stunts, and I played a little bit of it a long time ago. It was pretty fun. I enjoyed it.
Wasn't much to go on other than it was a Trackmania game. Looked gorgeously fun.
Yeah.
Coming out November 6th or November 26th for the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. Yay, PC.
PC Master Race. Just kidding.
Let's not get this again. They're going to tear down our mailboxes again. It's random. I kept this in here because randomly generated tracks. It's going to come with a track generator that will randomly make a track. Now, they showed this off on stage during the Ubisoft conference. Mm-hmm. And what was hilarious was it was one of the devs doing it. They had one dev sort of talking and the other dev, who's sort of the mastermind behind Trackmania, playing it. When they did the randomly generated track, he screwed up. It was so beautifully unscripted.
Yay.
Like you knew you were watching real game because this dev just screwed up. In the way he screwed up, you knew it's like no way he could have saw it coming. There's no way he could have prevented it.
Yeah,
and he got past it the second time because he knew it was there. But
yeah, and that's the cool thing. Like it's not really cool when developers mess up, but when you see those things, it proves that it's not pre-done. It's all live, you know. So in a way, it's kind of cool to see that hey, this is actually happening before my eyes, and not just like some sort of a trick.
Yes. Yeah. Next game on our list, Ubisoft's annual release, Money Cow.
Yep.
Assassin's Creed Syndicate, coming out October 23rd, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. It's gonna be an Assassin's Creed game.
Yep. Let's just hope it doesn't have the same problems that Unity had, because we all know how that did.
I'm saying there's a lot of publishers pushing the emergency button, so-called, this year, because they're taking off a lot of their fan base, and a lot of the games are going where they don't want them to go.
Yeah. So
a lot of developers and publishers are hitting that emergency button, finally doing that one thing that they knew they could save their butts.
Yeah.
And this one for Assassin's Creed is they're setting it in Victorian England.
Yeah.
Which everyone wanted to see since the first. I think people wanted that one more than the Renaissance when Assassin's Creed 2 was coming out.
Right.
Maybe we'll get to see Jack the Ripper. They're going to have a grapple hook because just cause you got to have a grapple hook.
Oh, just cause.
Just because I want to. Predictions. Some people will most likely get angry. A bunch of really thick people that don't even play a game and have no stake in this are going to get really angry at the depiction of child labor in a game that's set in Victorian England.
Yeah, probably.
Most likely. And nobody's going to care.
Well,
and it's just going to double the game sales anyway.
There's always somebody to complain about everything, so...
Yep.
Cool.
The last game from Ubisoft this year, another Tom Clancy game.
Yay, big surprise.
This one is the one Tom Clancy game that looks interesting, looks fun, because it's a Ghost Recon game. And Ghost Recon's my favorite Tom Clancy game. It's my favorite third-person shooter is the Ghost Recon series, because it's really, really good. Ghost Recon Wildlands is coming out. It's going to be an open world Ghost Recon. Ghost Recon's always been levels and relatively linear. I mean, you can move about the world for a little bit, but it's still a pretty linear level. But this one's going to be open world. Now, the trailer they showed off was it was one mission, and they were showing you different approaches to accomplish the same goal. So they had to secure a guy named White Hat. That was the code name for him. And they could do the stealth approach where they sniped him. The stealth approach where they kidnapped him, stuffed him in the trunk of a car, or the stealth approach, or the run and gun approach where they blew up all the cocaine and then the mafia killed him, or the cartel killed him for him, or the other approach where they just sniped him from a distance.
Yeah.
So you can play with your friends, pick the approach to a particular game. It's set in Bolivia, which is an interesting place to put it.
Yeah.
Bolivia is a really mountainous and lush country. Ought to be pretty. Other than that, there's really nothing to go on.
Yeah.
Lone Wolf or go co-op up to 3.
Yep.
I'm seeing co-op would probably be much better for this game.
Yeah. I like games that have very beautiful settings, so that should be interesting.
Yes, Bolivia. It looked gorgeous in the trailer. I don't know if you saw it. It looked really nice.
I didn't actually get to catch that one, but yeah, I love games like that. Like that's why I said about The Last of Us, which is very pretty. I like pretty.
Alrighty, so let's move on to the next group, Electronic Arts.
EA. Yay! We love them. They are great.
EA they actually did announce some good things this year, but we got to remember this is EA. They will EA it.
And for a small fee of $1.99, they'll reveal more games that are coming out. And those games, no, I'm just kidding.
It sounds like them though.
Yep.
I gotta say, you reminded me that I did see some scary things. I think it's on one of the games we decided to cut. I'm gonna mention it here real quick. Minions Paradise.
Oh yeah.
Frel. In that gameplay trailer, you could see the 2 separate types of currencies in the corner. You knew microtransactions were in it from the get-go.
Oh, EA loves microtransactions.
Oh my God, they embrace them.
And DRM.
And DRM.
That's a whole nother story.
Yeah.
That's not why we're here today.
Let's get on to the meat. They opened with the game that made everyone lose it.
Yes, smart decision. Smart
decision. I'm not going to tell you the title yet. This game's trailer was the Johnny Cash song, Ghost Riders in the Sky.
Yes.
One of my favorite Johnny Cash songs.
I like that song, actually.
Anyway, it looked like not Borderlands. It looked like Destiny for a minute. I thought it was going to be like a Destiny DLC, which made no sense coming from EA.
Right.
It looked like Destiny.
We're doing a Destiny DLC with microtransactions. Anyway.
Oh. And then it cuts out to the guy on the computer screen, and then he turns around and he pulls out a gun, and you can see a few people go, "What?" Because they recognize the gun. Mm-hmm. They recognize what series it was from. And then he walks into the light, and the N7 logo lights up on his chest, and then you could not hear anything in that arena at that point. It was like, yes, the next Mass Effect, finally. Mass Effect Andromeda, they are taking it to a completely new galaxy, which is a smart decision.
And now with 10 colors of ending. I'm just kidding.
Don't remind me of that. I'm a big Mass Effect fan. We are for the win. Anyway. Yeah. They're taking it to a new galaxy, which is about the only way they could get themselves out of the corner that they wrote themselves into.
Right. I never actually... I've been meaning to go... I actually have 1 and 2 on my computer, and I haven't played them yet. I've been meaning to because I've heard that Mass Effect is such a great series.
It is.
Despite the controversy with the endings, which everybody should know about by now.
I'm going to tell you this. Mass Effect 3 is a good game.
Right.
It's a great game.
Yeah.
Is it the best? No, Mass Effect 2 is the best. Mass Effect 3 is still good because it does bring closure to a lot of the arcs going on in the storyline.
Right.
If you can just forget about the last 15 minutes... Mass Effect 3 is a great game.
Right, and I've heard that. I've heard that it is actually a very good game, and I know that EA was very much pushing their, it's about the journey, it's not about the destination, and I'm like, okay.
What takes you off the most is if you hear what the original writer wanted as an end. Oh, it was so much better than what you got. Anyway.
But yeah.
Mako's back, that's the big news.
Yeah.
When you play Mass Effect 1, you'll see why everyone both loves and hates the Mako.
Oh, okay. Alright.
Next game from EA was a beautiful little indie game that had the I'm going to sound like a girl. It had the cutest, most lovable presenter.
You're talking to the guy that watches ponies. I do not judge.
No, this was even...
I like cute things. I am a man and I like cute things.
You're going to love this then.
I do. I like cute things.
This was Unraveled. And it quite literally was the most beautiful thing on EA's roster this year. It was clearly a guy who had the idea while camping with his family, and it's just he has a passion and he's telling what he wants to tell. It is just so beautiful. I can't describe it. I just have one word. Go watch the trailer.
Yes.
Just go watch the trailer. It's beautiful. But I just have one fear. Since this is coming from EA, are they going to charge us per inch per yarn?
Yes. Of course.
I hope not. Otherwise, it's going to kill that beautiful game.
Do you want 2 inches? That will be
$1.50.
Yep, $1.50.
What's the rate for yarn these days? I
don't even know.
I hope EA doesn't just screw it up, but they might.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think they screw up everything, but they definitely do go a little heavy on the
screwing of the up.
Yes, exactly.
This is the developer's debut game, so they'll probably leave them alone. Usually EA's tactic is leave them alone for the first one, a little bit for the second one, completely kill them on the third.
Yes.
And then when the thing doesn't sell like you want to, you off the studio altogether.
And so now we're moving on to the EA Sports division.
It's in the game. There's nothing to talk about here.
Yeah, no, not.
In fact,
sports games. Sports games, yay!
More FIFA,
sports.
More NHL, more NBA.
Go sports team!
But the reason we're leaving this in here and why I want to talk about it was this is the point in EA's conference where they turned into ESPN.
Yay!
It was so funny.
Da-da-da, da-da-da. Anyways.
They had Pele. Yeah. You know who Pele is, right?
A little bit. I don't really follow the sports.
That was me. I know enough about sports to know who Pele was.
Mm-hmm.
But for those of you who don't, he is a football player. That is soccer, not
football.
Not that weird. So I don't know why we call it football, but
I know it doesn't make any sense. Really, we're not.
Can you tell we lived in the South and we went to high school in a football county.
Yes.
You can tell we weren't the most popular people in the world, but
nope. I was with the band nerds.
The band nerds were football nerds.
Well, yeah, probably. Not all of them. But anyway.
Most of them.
Awkward silence.
They're going to listen to this. We still talk to some of them. Anyway, Pele was on there. It was supposed to be Pele talking a little about football and really showing the game off more. It turned into Pele... It turned into two guys talking about football. I felt like I was watching ESPN all of a sudden. It turned into that.
Yep.
And that's all I have to say about that.
That's all there really is to say about that. So this next game, I played a little bit of the first one. I have not beaten it, but it was gorgeous and it was fun. So I'm very excited to see it make a return. I think everybody is, actually. We've been waiting for a long time. It's finally here. Well, it's finally being announced anyway.
Yeah.
And that is...
It might have a release date. I just didn't catch it.
And that is, of course, Mirror's Edge Catalyst.
Mirror's Edge 2, basically.
Yes.
It's going to be a prequel to Mirror's Edge. An origin story for Faith. About time... I was scared. I was really scared because we knew this game was coming and we figured it'd be announced here. Mm-hmm. But DICE had announced earlier in the year that they were going to be focusing on combat for Mirror's Edge.
Yeah.
Which made a lot of people go, facepalm, don't do it, please. Because combat did not work in the original Mirror's Edge, but that's what made it so good.
Right. I mean, that's just it. Like, you want to keep fluidity, you want to keep motion, you don't want to have to slow down and do combat.
The one part in the game where you really had to fight, that's where it broke apart. Mm-hmm. It was more running, and I like that, because obviously if you're going to take on a SWAT team,
right,
your best tactic would be run away.
I mean, it's kind of like me being a huge Sonic fan. It's kind of like when you're in Sonic the Hedgehog and you're going fast and you're going through it and everything's great, and then you have like 1,000 enemies you got to fight and just completely halt your momentum. It's not as satisfying. You want to keep going, and it's fun whenever they're incorporated in that, where you can maybe beat them and keep going without losing your momentum, but once you have to stop and do combat, it's just...
Yeah, it doesn't work.
No.
Anyway, it's open world, which I'm both amazingly excited and terrified for.
That's interesting. That's
I'm not sure how they're going to pull this one off.
It is parkour everywhere, on everything.
Yeah, it's probably going to feel a bit out of place in some places, but probably. I can live with it.
Yeah, it sounds interesting, nonetheless.
My next fact... Yeah. This was not mentioned during E3. This was actually posted after E3 on on the gaming subreddit, and it was a picture of the villain of Mirror's Edge Catalyst, and they sort of edited next to him the CEO of EA. That's the exact same person. They look exactly alike, except the EA CEO looks a little bit more villainous with his grin. And I just couldn't help but think that this is from DICE and it's a call for help. They're
money.
Get us out of here. We don't want to do another Battlefield. They're making us. We want Bad Company 2 again. Anyway,
so
last fact on this one. I'm just gonna let this simmer.
Okay.
Morgan Freeman. At the end of the trailer, there was a guy. It was I'm guessing it was Faith's mentor. Looked a lot like it would be a mentor type character. Looks like Morgan Freeman. I don't think it was voiced by Morgan Freeman. Anyway.
Listen, we gotta run and we gotta jump and we gotta do all of these things. And I can't do a very good Morgan Freeman impression. That's just it.
Well, to be safe, don't you know? To be safe.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of things to preserve my life. The things I've had to do with no pants on for a Snickers bar. Oh, you wouldn't believe.
All right, then.
That was my Morgan Freeman. I can do a much better Sean Connery, to be perfectly honest.
Oh, well, yeah, well, anyway, so the final thing on the list, the thing that nerds everywhere are looking forward to and hoping that EA doesn't screw up. I'm really excited for this. I'm pretty sure that Country Fly was excited for this. He is also giving away what it is. It is, of course, Star Wars Battlefront. Oh.
November 17th, PS1, Xbox One, or PS1?
PS1.
Wow.
We're downgrading.
PS4, Xbox One, and PC.
I got my PS1 right here. I'm ready to go.
I'll have to dig mine out of the closet. Oh, Atari. I'll dig my Atari out of the closet for you.
Oh my gosh. Bloop, bloop, bloop. No, the game looks gorgeous. Like, the graphics look amazing. The gameplay looks good. It looks like it has the makings of a good game. I'm really excited. Please don't screw this one up.
It is DICE making it. And DICE is nothing if not great first-person shooter guys. Obviously, they do the Battlefield series, and they did Mirror's Edge.
Yeah.
So, Battlefield 4, not the best. I think that was mostly because DICE was rushed by EA. I just want to point out two things about this. It sounds fantastic. It quite literally sounds like Star Wars. The AT-AT walking around, the most impractical vehicle in Star Wars, walking around sounded like it. The fighters sounded correct. The blasters sounded correct. The sabers, Darth Vader. Few people might get angry, and I've already seen this in the Star Wars subreddits because Star Wars fans are nothing if not butthurt very easily.
Oh, and that's any major fandom, trust me.
Oh, it's really bad with Star Wars.
I'm part of I was part of the Sonic fandom. Haha, you have no idea. Anyway.
I do.
I feel like everybody, like, you could say that about pretty much any major fandom, but yes.
It's 10 years after the first prequel, and they're still crying about it like little kids, so. Anyway. Luke Skywalker was not wearing the right outfit for Hoth. He was wearing his the Return of the Jedi outfit, which was not correct, but at the same time, maybe they didn't have the Hoth outfit done yet.
It's okay. Lucas will just change it in the next iteration of Star Wars. It's alright. It'll be fine.
And I heard a Wilhelm scream at one point.
The Wilhelm scream.
Which is famous. It's everywhere in Star Wars. You gotta have the
It's
Wilhelm
everywhere
scream.
in every movie.
Yes.
Come on. The Wilhelm scream is famous.
I hate it, though. It's so overused now.
Yeah, it's so overused that it sounds cartoonish. That's the funny thing.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like a real scream anymore.
I watched an episode of MASH last night where Hawkeye punched Burns, and that I swear, that distinctive thwack sound of someone punching someone in movies. Anyway, Bethesda.
So, now we're up to Bethesda. They had their own conference, but
this was their first one. This is the first time they had their own conference.
Yeah, and I don't think they'll be doing many of them because they're not the kind of company that has a lot of games. But
not very often.
It was a good time to have one because they had enough to show, and they did a really good job.
Yes, Bethesda. This was the most look forward to conference too, since it was our first one, and About a month before E3, Bethesda released a trailer for a game we're going to talk about. But
they definitely set the bar. They definitely set the bar.
They took the
when
bar
they started.
and chunked it into the sky.
They were just like, "Hey guys, we got this. What do you got?"
Yeah, the trailer. By the way, the trailer they released a month before was a 3-minute long gameplay trailer for this game, and everyone was like, "Wait a minute, we were expecting an announcement. We weren't expecting it to look this far done.
Yeah,
This looks like something we'd get before the end of the year." Anyway, we'll get to that in a second. The first game they opened with was Doom.
Yep.
Is it going to be a sequel to Doom or a remake of the original Doom?
I believe it's a remake of the original. I believe we're returning to form here. I think it may not be. I think it's one of those, probably a reboot. I'm not entirely sure. I don't know all the information, but I know it looks a lot like the original Doom, looking at it. So I feel like it's either a remake or a reboot in that sense. I don't remember a lot of like the story of Doom, but when I was a kid,
There was a story to Doom?
Yeah, pretty much. There was actually a story to Doom if you probably read the pamphlet or something. But I used to play it a lot when I was younger, despite my mom not wanting me to.
Sorry, Mom.
But yeah, I used to like that game. It was pretty fun, and I mean, it was a revolutionary thing because there weren't any first-person shooters back then.
Well, it wasn't the first, but it was definitely the first that got popular.
Right, exactly. And so I have some good memories with that. It's weird to see them in like fully rendered, beautiful 3D.
That is weird. I kind of want them to do what that Bungie or whatever that company was that made that Halo 1 remake, where you could like push a button and switch between the old and the new graphics.
Oh, that would be crazy. I don't know
that.
how you could even begin to do that.
Not with Doom, but that would just be amazing.
Right. Mainly because the mechanics only allow you to spin around without looking up or down. That would be... That'd be funny if they kept that control scheme. Like, everything was beautiful, but you couldn't, like, look up or down. You could only look around.
Oh, that would be weird.
That would be funny. But yeah, it looked gorgeous.
It looked great. It looked like Doom.
Yeah,
everyone lost their minds when the dude in the gameplay trailer picked up the chainsaw.
I've heard a lot of people say it looks more like Doom than Doom 3 did, so... there's that.
Snap Map looked good. It's their random level generator, I think. What was that? I can't remember. It's been a while since I watched the trailer.
Yeah, I can't. It's been a long time for me, too.
Last thing I mentioned with Doom, that was one heck of a death animation.
Yeah.
Ripped his arms off and beat him to death with it.
So that's just it. Like, my parents always thought that it was very gory, and, like, the original was very gory, and, like, all that was horrible for me to be playing when I was younger.
Showed them GTA 5.
Well, I'm talking about like back in the day, back in the day
when you
Doom
were a kid.
was out. They were like, "That's really graphic. You shouldn't be playing that." And now look where we've
Have you showed them GTA 5? I've showed my mother GTA 5. Remember, you have a little sister, so
yeah,
you
no,
gotta be
that's
careful.
not happening.
I don't. My sister's older than me.
So we're gonna move on. We're gonna move on to a game that isn't really praised that much.
Elder Scrolls Legends. The only reason we're keeping this in here is because it's going to be an Elder Scrolls card game.
Right.
I'm thinking a lot like Hand of Fate was.
Right.
I really don't know. It's free to play, so I'm probably going to give it a try because I really like Hand of Fate. Right. But
yeah, actually, let me clarify why I said that. Actually, because I thought we were talking about, for some reason, I thought we were talking about Elder Scrolls Online, but we're actually we're talking about a Hearthstone clone, basically.
Yeah.
And I say that because Hearthstone is like the popular one to play now, not because Hearthstone did it first, because it didn't do it first, I don't think. But it made it really, really fun and really, really accessible, and they've done a really brilliant job with it, and that's my rant.
Yep.
So the next one, the one that everybody's been waiting for,
the one we talked about at first, that I said we'll come back to,
the beautiful, beautiful, beautiful game that I'm pretty excited to play. This is the one exception where I'm like, the apocalypse. Well, this is the one exception where I'm like, the apocalypse is good. This is the one where I accept that it is based around apocalypse. I accept all of it. It is fun. It is great. Of course, we're talking about Fallout 4.
Fallout 4. The big kahuna, big fish, and they trolled everybody with this one because after they did Elder Scrolls Legends, the guy's like, unfortunately, that's the end of our conference, and then everyone started booing. It was just one boo. He's like, we might have one other thing we thought about talking about, and then someone in the corner just yells, Fallout 4. You're like, okay, we'll talk about Fallout 4. And yeah, they released a trailer beginning of the month.
Yeah.
That was the announcement trailer to Fallout 4. But most announcement trailers are not even a minute long, and they just CGI showing you, hey, we are making this. Mm-hmm. This one was 3-minute long gameplay footage. And it was gameplay that looked a whole lot further done than an announcement trailer would be.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the things they showed at E3 were brilliant. I thought it was really good. I'm a pretty big fan of Fallout 3. I never played 1 or 2. I never got in on it then because, it was a little bit different back then, obviously. But I haven't ever beaten, to be fair, I've never beaten a Bethesda game, and that's something that I'm trying to work on. It's so open world that my brain just goes off and does things like that have nothing to do with the story. So I've yet to beat one. However, I'm planning on beating Fallout 3 so that I can play Fallout 4 because I really, really want to. Everything about it looks just a step above Fallout 3 in every way, and it is brilliant. Thank you for rolling my 20-sided die. But yeah, so it looks really, really cool. They're moving away from the sliders now, so where you can like manipulate your face directly instead of using sliders, which is really cool.
I'm a big fan of that, actually.
I think it's cool.
It's cool, but it gets a little problematic sometimes. It wasn't really what didn't like it in The Sims 3. Mm-hmm. Or not Sims 3, The Sims 4.
Right. I don't know. To each their own on that one, I guess. But I thought it was interesting. I thought it was interesting that they also mentioned like that they had pre-recorded names, so that if it was a name that was in their database, it would actually say your name, which was a really cool addition.
Me and you both have pretty common names.
Very common names, yeah. So I mean, we should be set, and that's
our parents didn't think outside the box.
Well.
I know if I ever have a kid, God forbid, I know what I'm going to name him, something really obscure.
Oh my gosh.
If my wife lets me. I'm not married, by the way.
Gonna name him,
If it's a girl, I'm naming her either Jadzia or Aelita.
Oh my gosh.
You don't even know where Aelita's from, do you?
I don't.
We'll talk about that off camera.
Yeah, that is neither here nor there, honestly. But I love the comment.
If it's a boy, it's going to be Kirk.
Well, yeah, I understand that one.
Not really. It's not going to be Kirk.
I like the interesting thing that you could actually build. Was it a town or a house? It was a town. I believe.
They had crafting so out there that you could build whole towns.
You could have a town. You could defend your town from attackers. You could have your own house that you literally built from scratch. You had pre-built houses in Fallout 3. Now you can actually build your house.
I'm going to get a little dirty real quick. Not too dirty. Okay. Just a little bit.
All right.
I've never played a Fallout game, but I might play this one because the crafting was so big and well done. I want to build a repopulation palace for myself.
Oh my gosh. All right.
And just one minor note. It had the cute doggy, and everyone was thinking, when's the cute doggy going to die? But Bethesda has announced that the cute doggy will not die.
Just like children.
Yeah.
They never die.
It will not die. At least not till it's scripted death.
Yep.
Anyway.
So, but then, of course, the other announcement to go alongside that, which is, I think it was hilarious the way the guy did it, because he was like, there's so many gimmicks out there, and he was like,
game gets an app.
Yeah, he was like, and of all the gimmicks, I chose the best freaking one.
He really did.
And it is, of course, a real Pip-Boy, which is fantastic.
That was amazing.
I don't have the money, I'm too late as well. But
yeah, they're gone now.
But it's really cool. It's basically a Pip-Boy model that you can wear on your wrist, and you put your phone inside of it, and you download an app. One of the cool things, though, is that if you want to, you can still download the app for your phone, whether you have the Pip-Boy or not, and use it. So that's a cool bonus. I think it's a neat idea because basically it actually functions as your Pip-Boy in game. And what I mean by that is if you fiddle around with stuff on the on the Pip-Boy in
He's
real
playing with
life.
a smartwatch while saying this.
I for some reason Google thought I was talking to it. But if you start playing with the things on the Pip-Boy app, it will actually affect the Pip-Boy in the game. So like if I'm sitting there messing with my inventory and changing things around, I think from what I gather, it's going to change your inventory around in the game. So basically it's an actual legitimate Pip-Boy, which I think is a cool gimmick. Like,
Yep.
It's gimmicky, yes, but it's a cool gimmick.
Yep, and it works. It works. This is the one where I would say I could swallow that. Again, not a Fallout fan. Probably not going to play Fallout 4, but if I was, I know people who are.
Yep.
Yeah, I could see them. Even just to have on your shelf to look at.
Oh yeah, a friend of mine who doesn't even like Fallout 3 or 4 or anything, like doesn't know anything about them, still thought that the Pip-Boy was cool and would get one.
Alrighty. Well, with that, I think we should move on to the last publisher in the list.
Yep, we're running a little long, but we're going to be wrapping it up with the last one, which is Square Enix.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, a lot of it was. However, there's some stuff that I am very
There
excited
was some stuff
for.
that people freaked out about, yes. But for the most part, Square Enix's conference was Snoresville. It was so long. It wasn't long. It was so boring. The translator even stopped halfway through.
It was
like,
extremely laid back. Like, it wasn't really very...
that was
it
not, no, Nintendo's was laid back. Theirs was...
Theirs was just like, we're going to talk about our business.
Yeah, that
Like-
was corporate executives in suits on stage talking about stuff you do not care about.
Right. But they did mention a couple of good gems, one of them being Just Cause 3.
Just because.
Which I have Just Cause 2. I have not beaten it, but
I haven't
the
even played
reason
5
why
minutes of it.
I have not beaten this game is because it's so fun to, like, just like in
Screw
Bethesda
around,
games, it's even more so than Bethesda games. It's fun to just screw around, to use your parachute and your grappling hook, steal cars, steal airplanes, like, just have a good old time. It is the best.
Yeah, they had it for free. During E3, Microsoft had it for free on Games with Gold on Xbox.
Yeah.
And I downloaded it. I've played maybe 5 minutes of it.
Yeah.
I just hadn't picked it back up.
The grappling hook and the parachute is a brilliant combo, and I love it.
Yeah, I had fun with that.
I will say that Far Cry, stop! Just Cause 2. I will say that Just Cause 2 is probably one of the best open world games that are out now. I mean, it's been out for a long time, but I would still say that it is one of the best open world games that exists. Definitely, I don't know if I would consider it the best, but it is one of the best. Mm-hmm. But Just Cause 3 looks really interesting. I remember seeing a little bit about it. I didn't watch the entire thing about it, but I watched some of it. It looked like things were going to be a lot more collapsible and a lot more things could be destroyed. Like a lot more environmental destruction.
It's set in the Mediterranean this time, and the other big thing that they're adding a wingsuit. I'm thinking
fun.
of, and I'm the crazy person. If I was in better shape, you would not. You have to pay me to do this. I would willingly jump out of an airplane with a wingsuit or a parachute, or I would do that if I was in better shape and I had the money. I would do that. I am that kind of person, but
Right.
just because screw my life. YOLO, dude, YOLO.
Oh gosh.
Anyway.
You're one of those people. Anyway,
One of the boring ones, though.
but yeah, it looks fantastic. I mean, if it's anything like Just Cause 2, I really look forward to it.
Next one, this is the point where I had a look of astonishment on my face. Did you watch this conference? The Square Enix?
I watched a little bit of it. I watched about up to... I watched a good part of it, probably like 30 minutes of it or so.
Okay, I'm the one that did most of the note-taking on this.
It's very true, yeah.
So I watched all of every single conference. This one right here stood out as the most WTF. This was corporate comedy. Was.
I remember this. Yeah, exactly. It was very odd and weird and what?
It's like, when I say corporate comedy, I mean picture a bunch of suited executives in their 60s talking about something they know absolutely nothing about, but they need a trailer. And it's like, okay, kids like funny. What's funny? Dude in a random mask for no flipping reason.
I feel like it had something to do with something. I feel like there's a significance somewhere. I don't know anything about it, but it definitely seemed to have some sort of significance.
It did play a little bit. I will give them this. It wasn't 100% abstract. The moon... Basically, this is the point when a guy in a moon face walked out. He was
like a creepy, like, Majora's Mask moon face kind of thing. Like, not actually Majora's Mask moon face, but, like, something kind of similar where it's just a creepy face on a moon.
And he had another guy helping him walk around. His translator was helping him walk around because he couldn't see.
Yeah.
With that thing on. It wasn't 100% stupid because the Moonface character that he had on was actually a character from the first game we're about to talk about, its sequel.
Yeah.
But I just want to point out how out of place this looked. They announced Nier. And they just announced it. They announced that they are working on a new Nier. I've never even heard of this franchise until now.
No, I never had either.
I may have to go back and play the first Nier. I'm gonna look into it because usually with JRPGs they're sort of hit and miss with me.
Yeah.
But if it looks fun, I'll go back and play it.
Yeah.
But other than that, this was just the weird part.
Yeah, it was.
They did a little on Tomb Raider, but we talked about that in Microsoft's conference. They announced another Lara Croft game. Now, me and you have recently been playing Lara Croft and the Guardian of Light.
Yes, we've started playing that, and if you're lucky, sometime you'll get to see it.
Yeah, one day. I have also played the sequel to that one, Lara Croft and the Temple of Osiris, which was both better and worse than Guardian of Light. But,
yay.
They announced a new one, but this is going to be a mobile game. It's Lara Croft Go, and it's turn-based.
Yeah.
Turn-based in a Lara Croft / Tomb Raider game, this is not gonna work.
It's very weird.
They might pull a miracle. They might find a way to make it work.
Are you ready for America?
I do have to say this: the art style looked really good.
That's good. That's always. Good.
I do like watercolor artwork games, especially on mobiles.
Yeah, yeah. I like stylized things, so that's interesting.
Next on the list was the game you flipped over.
Let me. All right, this is going to be my jam. This is going to be me. I'm going to explain all of this because this is something.
I had my Miku rant. You can get this.
That's true. I am very big into this. This is something that I'm very big into, and I believe a lot of people are actually. But it was very, very funny because there was one game that everybody was expecting at E3, and that was Kingdom Hearts 3, and everybody was really expecting it, and I was too, and I was just waiting for Square to get on and mention Kingdom Hearts 3. The best part about it was, though, the guy came up, and he was like, we have, would you guys like to see a trailer for a new game that I think you guys will all be looking forward to, or something like that. I can't remember exactly what he said, or a franchise that you guys all love, and et cetera, et cetera. And he basically made everybody think it was Kingdom Hearts 3, and had people just, like, cheering, and woo! And then, like, the trailer comes up, and it's not. It's a mobile game.
And everyone cried.
It's a very Club Penguin looking, like, mobile game where you play as, I guess, your own version of a Keyblade wielder, and you go and you do things. And I mean, it looked like it could be interesting, don't get me wrong. I would probably try it at least. I don't know if it's really,
free to play.
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to be bad or anything, but it wasn't Kingdom Hearts 3, and that was the best part, because people were just like, yeah, Kingdom Hearts 3! And then they don't show the Kingdom Hearts 3 trailer, and they were just like, okay. And then they came back on and they were like, but we actually do have some stuff for this. And then they proceed to go on a thing, basically a movie showing you what the first confirmed world for Kingdom Hearts 3 is. And it's going to be Tangled, which
I'm not against.
I'm not against either. I actually really like Tangled. My girlfriend is a big fan of Tangled. I enjoyed it as well. I enjoy Disney movies, which is why I like Kingdom Hearts so much. But it'll be...
You like Disney? No.
It'll be beautiful, I'm sure. It's a very pretty place to base it off of. I'm sure we're going to have... I doubt... I don't know. It's possible we could have the actual voice actors come back. Usually Disney just use sound-alikes, especially for their big movies. But I could see both actresses. I mean, it's Mandy Moore and Zachary Levi. And I could see them coming back to reprise their roles, so that would be interesting. I always love it when voice actors reprise their official roles for things. But yeah, so the gameplay looked gorgeous, though. They actually showed a gameplay trailer, and it looked very...
It looked Kingdom Hearts.
The graphics were amazing, and it definitely looked like they still had a long ways to go. And I'm sure that it'll be like several years down the line, knowing Square Enix.
They announce games. They just announced that they are making them. They don't announce when they come out.
Tetsuya Nomura and Square Enix, they like to just announce them, but they've still like 5
Final
years
Fantasy
in development.
VII remake may come out in 2020.
Yeah, that's what I'm guessing is 2020 because he's still got Final Fantasy 15 and Kingdom Hearts to work on. I doubt that that's coming out soon, but it looked gorgeous. It looked very open, like everything. If you know the Kingdom Hearts series, it's very compartmentalized. Like, it's a big world overall, but it's in compartments that you go from place to place in. This looked like, screw that, we're going big. It didn't look open world. I don't think it's supposed to be open world. But the world is supposed to look open, if that makes any sense. It's not a truly, I'm just going to walk around everywhere, I think, kind of thing. But it's a, I see this over there, and I can go to it, if that makes sense. It's still within its own world. It's not like you can just wander around to every world like that, but it is a whole lot more open. The Keyblade now turns into guns. That's an interesting thing.
Well, it did in the first one with the fire attack.
I mean, kind of, but I mean, it actually legitimately turned into a gun, whereas the other one fired like a gun. This one actually turns into guns. It looked like Kingdom Hearts, but it looked flashier, like way more like. Well, super fast combat with flashiness and like...
Can I say this? The Keyblade is such an unpractical weapon. Turning it into a gun makes sense. It would actually make it better.
Yeah. But another thing that they showed off this time was their summons, I guess. I don't know if they're exactly like their own set of summons or if they are specifically just the summons in the game. But they are attractions. They are literally rides from Disney
I can't wait
turned
for that.
into summons. They showed the train you could ride on, like you could ride on a train roller coaster type thing. You could ride on the teacups. The teacups were a ride.
Please tell me that's Alice in Wonderland with that one.
I mean, it's literally the teacups from the ride, the teacups, and I think that's really cool that they're actually now drawing from their attractions in their theme parks. I think that's a really cool idea, and it could add some interesting things to it. But yeah, it looked like Kingdom Hearts, but it looked a lot more cinematic, a lot more epic. I'm really looking forward to it. And now my rant is over.
And you complained about my Miku rant.
Yeah, I know.
You see, when you're passionate about something...
Oh yeah, exactly.
You can just...
And that's why I kind of make fun of him about that, and then he could kind of make fun of me about that. But at the end of the day, we understand. Yeah. We're both passionate about different things, and when you're passionate
for
about
the win.
Something.
Anyway, The next game I'm genuinely interested in.
Yeah,
because I am a new fan to this series.
Yeah, did we talk about it at all during PlayStation 3? I can't remember.
I don't think
PlayStation
so. I think we mentioned it.
Yeah, I think we mentioned it, but we didn't really talk that much about it. So
it's World of Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
Which looks like it's going to be not a Final Fantasy game. It's just going to be a game that brings all your Final Fantasy characters together. So
right.
I can't wait to make my dream team of Yuna, Aerith, Lightning, Squall, and all the cool guys.
Yeah, I'm a pretty big fan of Final Fantasy. I think we've already covered that.
Yes.
That's another thing.
In length, we have.
Yeah, but it looked interesting as a chibi style.
The art style was fun. The art style looked nice.
It was weird because it mashed a whole lot of things together. Because at one point, it was definitely showing off the chibi art style, and then all of a sudden we got like characters that looked a lot like they belonged in the Kingdom Hearts universe. So
I think one was a Kingdom Hearts character.
I don't think so, but they looked like it. It looked like somebody from Kingdom Hearts.
It might be like their version of Smash Brothers.
Right, I don't know. Well, they actually did have a game kind of like that for the PlayStation Portable, I remember. I believe it was called Dissidia Final Fantasy, where it was basically like a brawling game with all of the characters from Final Fantasy, the Final Fantasy universe.
Nice.
But I don't exactly know what this is going to be yet. It wasn't really clarified. It was just kind of like
sort of
here's all the characters in the Final Fantasy world. Look
together.
at them. They're cute, and they're going to do things together.
Yeah. Which I can't wait to see Lightning I can't wait to see Lightning show Cloud how to fight. But
Don't you dare talk about Cloud like that.
holy Buster, that's a Cloud. Hitman was the next game, simply entitled Hitman, coming out December 8th, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. The coolest thing, this is a Hitman game, looks like a return to form with Hitman.
Right.
And the coolest thing about this one was World of Hitman, which is going to be like their network kind of thing. Basically, every month or so, maybe on a weekly basis actually, there will be a new target on World of Hitman, and you can take this target down, you can ignore him. If you ignore this target and don't go after him, or you fail to take him down when you go after him, he's gone forever. He will disappear off the grid. You'll never see him again. So it's going to be like one-time exclusive moment trophies, which is a good idea for Hitman. This is a really good idea for Hitman, because that Hitman doesn't have a lot of replayability once you beat it.
Right.
But, well, it kind of does. If you play it twice, and you've pretty much played it as much as you need to. Yeah. But this could keep you coming back to Hitman. Right. Especially if they go into detail and make good targets, not just like, oh, shoot them and you're done.
Yeah, and that's an advantage of the technology we have nowadays with the internet and everything else like that. I think that's brilliant, to continually get replayability out of your game, because you can schedule these events or whatever, almost like Destiny, or like the MMOs. You can have these set things that you can have events
dailies,
for,
as they're called.
Yeah. I think that's a really cool idea. It definitely adds a breath of fresh air, and it gives you a new reason to jump in every time, which is cool.
They're looking. They said they want to have multiple ways to take down the same opponent, but we know how that's going to end, especially on consoles. It's just going to end with people brute forcing it. Yep. The other thing I just wanted to say is, because I am that type of person, Hitman is a career path that part of me wants to take. That's why I kind of want to be a hitman. Hey, you get to travel the world, and you get to kill interesting people. And if James Bond is to be believed, you get to meet very attractive women as well, and drink martinis.
Well, shaken not stirred.
I like gin for my martinis though, not vodka.
Well,
and
I don't
shaken.
know.
Stirring's not good. It's much better shaken. Anyway,
so,
Deus Ex, Mankind Divided.
Deus Ex.
Deus Ex.
Deus Ex, Mankind Divided. No. Deus Ex. No.
Make fun of my spelling.
No, I don't think that's the wrong spelling. I'm just making fun of the name in general.
Deuces.
Never played Deus Ex myself, but it's always I know the original Deus Ex was very well received. A lot of people liked it, so that's cool.
Yeah. There's really nothing to talk about here, except for they announced who the bad guy's name's gonna be. Mm-hmm. Jimmy, would you kindly read who they're naming the bad guys?
The Illuminati.
So, couldn't think of a better name, could you?
The Illuminati.
The Illuminati.
Yes.
Getting meta. Not really. We're getting cheap. Last one, Project Setsuna. It's from a new developer of Square Enix, Tokyo RPG Factory, who I guess is going to be making RPGs on a yearly basis.
Yeah, that makes sense.
JRPGs.
Yeah.
JRPGs. Very interesting in that most of them are cast from the same mold, but some of them are not. Like Kingdom Hearts is not your typical JRPG, and it's amazing, and I love it. And same with Lightning Returns.
Right, exactly. There are JRPGs, like the stereotype of JRPGs is turn-based combat, etc., etc.
Combat, but then, story through cutscenes, spiky hair, women wearing next to nothing,
zippers, lots of zippers. If you're
or that one Final Fantasy character that had the skirt just made out of belts.
Yeah. I think my girlfriend is gonna cosplay as her.
Good thing she's not here.
Lulu is her name, actually. Final Fantasy X.
She was going as Yuna.
No, she decided Lulu because she liked her belt skirt.
I want to see a picture of this. I want to know how she's gonna make that work. Anyway.
I know. I'm gonna be Auron, by the way. I'm not gonna be Titus because I do not have the body to show off my chest.
I'm thinking I had different set of clothes on before I came over here. Just a black shirt and a black pair of sweatpants. I'm thinking what I'm going to do is get some EL wire and make myself look like I'm from Tron.
There you go.
Because that's a cosplay I can do. I can't work with clothes that well. My costumes I've usually bought. My Starfleet costume. Mm-hmm. They're cheap, by the way. It's not a... I wouldn't go to a convention in that Starfleet costume because I'd just get shunned off the premises.
In case you're just now tuning in, it's been an hour, so now we're moving on to Cosplay Corner. Today we're going to be telling you how to sew a skirt.
I can take the hint. I'll shut up.
Just kidding.
Anyway, Project Setsuna, they showed 2 or 3 images. 2 or 3 concept arts while a guy stood there and talked about Tokyo RPG Factory being a new developer that no one cared about.
They're a new developer. They develop new things. They're a new developer.
And they're developing JRPGs, and they're from Tokyo.
Yeah.
And that's actually covers it for the developers.
Yep, that's it.
Our publishers.
If you are still listening, you are amazing.
They're not listening, dude. They're all asleep. They're all asleep right now, so wake up!
If you're still listening, you are amazing. We love you. You are fantastic for making it all this way. So sorry to have rambled for over an hour.
We're nerds, and you gave us a microphone. What do you think's gonna happen?
But we felt like just doing these all together was better than making 1.5 billion videos.
Yeah.
So...
And we're lazy.
We hope you enjoyed it. Please, I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to see more, subscribe to my channel. I'm going to be doing more Let's Plays in the future. I'm going to be doing more Let's Plays with this guy in the future.
Possibly, if I can sweet talk Jimmy into it, maybe a podcast. I don't know.
Yeah, but I hope you enjoy this, because that's what I'm doing this for. I'm doing this for you guys. I love entertaining, and that's what I'm here to do. So, yeah, with that, I think we've done it.
Yep. At least for the publishers.
Yeah.
There's still more to go. We're going to do one more part, but...
Yep. Next is going to be PC and
PC, tech, and our reactions to E3 overall.
Yep. So, thank you guys for listening. We'll talk to you later. Goodbye.
See ya.